Before you get ready to play another game of Pokemon Unite, arm yourself with some of the best tips I can share on how to win the next game of Pokemon Unite you play. Starting at number 1, the Rayquaza. Now, I believe there are 3 things you can do at Rayquaza. You can backcap, which is going to score while the Rayquaza is alive. You can team fight, which is trying to actively fight the enemies as a group of players. Or you can rip the Rayquaza, which is a short term for trying to damage Rayquaza very quickly and take it off the map as soon as possible. So you have these 3 options. We need to pick which one. What do we do when? You backcap when the enemies don't have a lot of rip power, e.g. they don't have characters that do a lot of auto attack or spell damage. They're sort of slow to hit this Rayquaza. Or characters that want to split off. So if you know that they're going to chase you and they think you're going to go score, this is a decent time to go and look for a backcap because you might distract the player on their team that is essential to them winning a fight at Rayquaza. So that's how to backcap. Then you have how to team fight, which is basically we're going to do that when we can deal a lot of damage to a group of enemies. So not when we necessarily have a single target character, but usually when we do a lot of damage over a period of time and when we are ahead. So this is when you're winning the game, when you're in a strong position and you're able to pick off the enemies and deal a lot of damage to them. That's when you want to go and play for this team fight. And you want to rip when the enemy is looking to defend their scores or are in a slow position to react. So they might be standing on their second tier bases, or they might just be in some weird bushes in the jungle, unable to react. So with these 3 in mind, yes, you just pick one, you sort of go with it. It's like throwing a dart. You have to be precise, you have to be decisive. Make sure you pick one idea at Rayquaza. Don't try to do them all. Don't try to rip halfway through and then go for a team fight. Most of the time you're going to complicate yourself. Just go for one simple idea, try to make that work. If you notice that your teammate is going for a backcap, maybe you don't need to do that backcap anymore. Maybe you can look for this other opportunity. Maybe you can start a rip. Remember, these are things that can change, but it's up to you to assess when it's the right time to change that strategy. So here's a good example, guys. I go for a backcap, let's just say, with 60, I have 50 points, and I'm going to the tier 2 on the top side of the map. This might mean that my opposition sends 2 players to stop my score. If this happens, my team should be adjusting their minds to a rip position, because it'll be a 4 versus 3 in the Rayquaza pit. So things like this can easily help you build a strong idea of how to attack the game. And that's just going to help you in the long run. You're going to win a lot more games when you have a solid game plan of what to do, with variety and options depending on different chances. So my number 2 strategy is forcing the action. And this goes into a few topics. The first thing is, yes, I'm saying force the action. Don't give away your lead. If you are ahead in the game, don't just suicide or die randomly to the enemy team. This is just going to give them a lot of unnecessary experience. And the same goes for leaving up lots of yellow dots on the map. You're going to see teams many times go into the enemy side with so many yellow dots available. Do your best to help the team clear the yellow dots. It's experience for you. It makes sure that everyone is getting some sort of levels, and when you have more levels, it's easier to fight the enemy. Now, the next point I want to make is share the love. Guys, so many times I see games where we don't want to help our teams. You know, we don't think we can kill the enemies, so what we do is we just sit in the jungle clearing dots. There is clearing the dots because you need to, and there's clearing the dots because you don't want to do anything on the map. Be active, be forceful, take control of the game. Like, don't go clearing dots when you are very strong and you can obviously help the team. Go clear dots when there's a lot of dots available and the team doesn't look like they can do much. So, and don't play by yourself, guys. This is the number 1 thing that I see so many times. People just go and try to be a solo hero. You'll see it a lot. I do it sometimes. Don't be a solo hero. Share the love. Play with your team. Set them up. They'll set you up. All goes nice and smooth. And of course, for my last point on this number 2 topic, shut down your enemies. Don't let them just play the best game of their lives. They're going to play the best game if you don't identify who is going to be strong in the enemy team. So what characters they have, what did the characters do, when will they become online or like be able to be powerful, and also stop them from taking the resources. So just like I said, taking the yellow dots, the enemy team wants to take our yellow dots and their yellow dots too. So if we can take their yellow dots, they're not going to get as much experience as we do. So yes, shut down the resources, shut down the enemies. It's going to make it much easier to win the game at the end and at the start of the game. You can just already see in this game, we're completely putting on the pressure. It looks really hard for an enemy team. They're a little bit outmatched, and we've identified what characters we need to shut down on their team. So moving into our last point, which is a pretty big one. Number 3, prioritize your game plan. Don't play their game. Don't just randomly play Pokemon Unite. I know a lot of people like to do that. Play your game of Pokemon Unite. When I say your game, I mean make the choices from point 1 and point 2. So point 2, what's happening in the game? I'm not going to give away the leads. Like, I'm going to share the love. What do I need to do? Do I need to farm? Do I need to stop like doing this and that? That's what you decide. And then you combine that with decisions at Rayquaza, and then you play for these ideas. Don't just go and say, oh, I see 6 enemies here, I'm going to fight them. There's not even 6 enemies in the game. Think about what you're doing and make sure it's part of your strategy to win. A lot of players are going to walk around and then just do whatever they see. Don't be like that. Have an idea of what you want. Have an idea of what makes you win. It's pretty easy to think about. Like, you know, let's just say they have, like in this game, they have a Charizard, Decidueye. This is a very late scaling team. They turn online into the game at level 7, level 9. If I push the pressure on early, even if they get comeback experience and levels, the game is very annoying and frustrating for them. For at least 5 minutes, they're not able to do much. Think about these ideas. You need to make sure you follow this plan. You need to stay true and strong with this idea, and you're going to find yourself winning more games when you do this. Once you finally go and you take these 2 points, you go and make sure you're disciplined with the ideas, you're disciplined with the thought process, you see the game. Look, the enemy team is surrendered at 7 minutes into the game. They don't want to play anymore, and it's simple. Because the pressure we exerted, along with the game plan and the strategy, they don't want to play anymore. We have better Pokemon, of course. We have the Mewtwo, that's a big difference. But this is a direct example of how you can go and attack your next game Pokemon Unite. I want you, to know, not every game is going to be in the hands of your teammates. You can make critical and decisive decisions that can shut out the enemy team. Make sure you are in the position to take them. Don't be the player that's just walking around with no game plan and no strategy. That's what I want you to remember, and I think you're going to do great when you apply that in your games. So, just to recap, number 1, Rayquaza, choose your one of 3 choices. Remember, give it some time, it might need to be adapted. Number 2, force the action. Don't give away your leads, share the love, shut down your enemies. And number 3, remember your game plan and make sure you do what you're meant to do. Don't forget the game plan. Don't get a hot head full of steam and do weird things. Remember what you need to do in the game and get it done. That's how you're going to win Pokemon Unite. Everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you loved it. It's a quick little video about how I would go and approach how to win more games of Pokemon Unite, and I think you're all going to love what we have in store for next time. So make sure you sub, make sure you're following the channel, make sure you join the Discord, watch the stream. I'll be back tomorrow. See you guys later.